Hello everyone and welcome to another Alexelotl video. And on the channel today, we're going to be doing some Reddit stories while playing on our Minecraft world that we've built towards on the last one. If you're watching the gameplay and you're wondering what the mod pack is, because you might notice there's a little difference between this and vanilla Minecraft. I am on the Race to the Moon mod pack if you feel like trying it out yourself. You may recognize it from old school Minecraft when people like Stampy or iBallistic Squid were playing it. And I figured I could hop on it, play it a little, and read out some Reddit stories for y'all. With that being said, let's jump right into it. Here we go. Our first story is titled, "My friend wore a fake engagement ring to my party and got mad when people found out." Already quite an interesting title. I don't know why someone would get mad if they're wearing it and you find... Anyway, let's... Or maybe find out that it's fake. Maybe that's what... Okay, let's carry on. "I hosted a small party at my apartment because I had just gotten a new job. It wasn't a huge celebration. Just pizza, snacks, games, and maybe 12 people. My friend Nina showed up late, which was normal for her. What was not normal was the giant ring on her finger. Okay, we're automatically noticing this ring. Okay. She walked in holding her hand weirdly high, like she was trying to direct traffic with it. Within 5 minutes, someone asked, 'Wait, are you engaged?' Nina gasped, like she had been caught in a movie, and said, 'Oh my gosh, I wasn't going to say anything tonight.' Except she absolutely was. Yeah, I mean... She absolutely was. If she was raising that hand up high, you know, she was trying to show it off for sure. Everyone started congratulating her. People hugged her. Someone opened another bottle of sparkling cider. My party immediately became an engagement party. I was confused because Nina had broken up with her boyfriend 2 months earlier. Whoa. Do we think she found someone in 2 months and got engaged to them? Whoa. Or maybe they got back together and let's see. She said, 'It's complicated,' after I asked who she's engaged to. That is not usually how engagements work. Good job, OP, on realizing how engagements work. Later, my friend Sam pulled me aside and said, 'That ring looks exactly like the one Nina bought for a Halloween costume.' So I asked Nina again, 'Are you actually engaged?' She got annoyed and said, 'Why are you interrogating me?' I said, 'Because people are congratulating you at my party.' Then she said, 'I just wanted to feel special for once.' That's when I realized there was no fiance, no proposal, no engagement, just vibes and a costume ring. I told her she needed to tell everyone the truth. She said I was humiliating her and making my job party all about me. It was literally my job party. So, I mean, I feel like she gave up the secret kind of quickly. You know, you asked her twice and she gave it up. I don't think she was committed to the bit enough. But, I mean, interesting. Let's carry on. When people eventually found out, she cried and left. Then she posted, 'Some people can't stand seeing others happy.' Nina, you invented a husband." I mean, a lot of people do like to go on the socials and then post, you know, these weird cryptic messages of what happened. I guess Nina's one of those, you know, posting on her, who knows, Instagram, Snapchat. Some people can't stand seeing others happy. And the "you invented a husband" line, that's quite funny. I mean, she didn't hard launch a relationship. She soft launched a lie, right? Her fiance was imaginary, completely fake. Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this, I wouldn't recommend doing that, following in Nina's steps there. Maybe get a legit fiance and, you know, don't imagine it or fake it or do it at someone else's event. Try and, you know, steal the show. You know, try it another time. Let's carry on to the next story. My cousin tried to wear a wedding dress to my wedding. Okay, automatically, whoa, another person trying to steal the show here, right? Let's see. I got married last fall. It was a small wedding, maybe 70 people, nothing huge. Before the wedding, my cousin Brianna kept asking weird questions. She asked what my dress looked like, how formal the wedding was, whether long dresses were okay, and if white was strictly forbidden. I laughed and said, "Yes, white is forbidden unless you are me." She said, "What about cream?" I said, "Also no." She said, "What about champagne?" I said, "Brianna, if it looks bridal, don't wear it." Okay, straight to the point, letting Brianna know what's going down. None of that bridal dresses. I love that. Feel like you were on to her right there. Although her questions were a little incriminating, but the day of the wedding, I was getting ready when my maid of honor came in and said, "Don't panic." Obviously, I panicked. Yeah, I mean, when someone tells you that something like that, it's like when someone is about to say like no offense, and then they go ahead and they say something offensive, right? Something like that. It never works out how the person says. So yeah, you panicked. Makes sense. She showed me a picture someone had taken of Brianna arriving. She was wearing a floor-length white lace dress. Not cream, not champagne, white lace with little pearl straps. It looked like she was about to marry my husband's backup character. My mom went to talk to her, and Brianna said, "It's not white, it's winter ivory." Winter ivory is white with a personality disorder. Then she said she didn't have another dress. My aunt defended her and said I was being insecure because everyone knows who the bride is. I mean, listen, I find it hard to believe that not another dress could have been found, right? I don't know how much time was had to find a dress, but I'm sure you could have found something last minute that was not this, right? Is that a crazy idea? Is that a crazy call out from me? I feel like you could have found anything that wasn't that. Simple, something simple, right? Anyway, yes, and apparently everyone also knew who the second bride was. She cried, my aunt cried. My uncle asked if we could just Photoshop it later. Photoshop her personality too while we're at it. Ooh, little burn from OP there. Little burn from OP. She's still not over this Brianna thing. I mean, I don't blame her. Brianna wore the shawl, but spent the entire reception telling people I policed her body. Okay, that's a bit much now. That's a bit much. After the wedding, she posted a cropped photo of herself wearing the shawl, sorry, forgive my reading, where the shawl was invisible, and captioned it, "Some women shine without trying." Everyone loves to go on the socials and post the little digs, little passive-aggressive digs. Must be missing something. Oh my gosh, this is becoming a common thing here. Anyway, that's the story. I mean, winter ivory? This personally not a color I've heard of before, but I would imagine winter ivory is probably very similar to white. I mean, you asked if cream could have been had or things like that. I mean, it was just simple, just no shade of white, right? Go any other color, any other color. She asked 6 different ways because she knew. She knew. Who does that though? Like, who plans that out? Who's like, I'm going to a wedding and I'm gonna wear a bridal dress? Like, that's an interesting thought process. I wonder what was really going through her mind there. I can't say it goes through many people's mind, but anyway, let's carry on to our next story. This story is titled, "My best friend copied my apartment, my outfits, my captions, and then called me jealous." Whoa. Your best friend might want to be you, buddy. Just gonna let you know that now. Probably figured that out by now, but by the way it's sounding, your friend kinda wants to be you. Anyway, let's see what happens. I used to be best friends with Maddie. We met in college and were close for years. At first, I thought it was cute that we had a similar taste. If I bought a sweater, she'd ask where it was from. If I posted a coffee picture, she'd post one too. Normal friend stuff. You were kind of getting signals from the start. Maddie was kind of letting you know from the start here. Anyway, normal friend stuff. Then it got weird. I painted my bedroom sage green. 2 weeks later, she painted hers the same color. Okay, yeah, that is definitely getting weird. I bought a specific striped rug from a small shop. She bought the same rug. I posted a picture with the caption, soft mornings lately. The next day she posted, soft mornings always. Whoa, whoa, she's one-upping you. From lately to always. Wow, Maddie's one-upping you. I started wearing gold hoops. She started wearing gold hoops. I got curtain bangs. She got curtain bangs. Then I adopted a cot. I adopted a cat named Milo. If she does the same thing, that is where I draw the line. If she gets her own cat and does the same thing, that's where I would draw the line. Here we go. Actually, I might have drawn the line a lot sooner. Maybe the bedroom thing, color, painting it the same color. Anyway, maybe she was just inspired. Let's see what happens with the cat. 3 weeks later, she adopted a cat and named him Miles. Oh, kind of cutting it close there. That was when I started feeling like I was losing my mind. I gently asked her about it. She laughed and said, "We just have the same aesthetic." Then she started an Instagram page for home decor that looked exactly like mine. Same filters, same angles, same beige mugs, same fake casual blanket pile. People even started tagging me in her posts by mistake. The final straw was when I planned a small birthday dinner with a picnic theme. I had a mood board, menu, everything. Maddie saw it because I sent it to our group chat. 2 days before my dinner, she hosted a random picnic night with this exact same setup. Same color napkins, same cake style, same little candles. Then she posted first. When I got upset, she said, "You don't own picnics." "No, Maddie, but I apparently rented this one mentally and you moved in." Now she's telling people I'm jealous because her posts get more likes. But it's not about likes. It feels like she is turning my life into her content. I mean, she's definitely copying you. And if you're fed up with it, sounds like you're ready to move on to a new friend. I don't know if that's a crazy call out. But I mean, naming the cat Miles after Milo is where you should start locking your doors, So she's not copying your homework, but because she's copying you, she's copying the whole student. She's not copying your homework, she's copying the student. Literally, she's copying you. You weren't lying. She's living your life online. I wonder if she does it. I mean, I guess she is doing her normal things, right? She painted her bedroom. Yeah, I think it's time get a new friend, say bye to Maddie, and find someone that doesn't copy your every move, maybe. Anyway, let's move on to our next story here. This one is going to be a little longer for our last one, and it is titled, "I found out my brother's fiance faked a pregnancy to stop him from leaving, and now my whole family is blaming me for destroying the engagement." Whoa, let's get into it. My older brother, Chris, has always been the responsible one in our family. Good job, steady, never dramatic, the kind of person who reads instruction manuals and actually keeps receipts. So when he started dating Megan, our family was a little surprised. Whoa, surprised. Megan was fun, loud, spontaneous, and very intense. She was the type of person who would meet you once and immediately call you her sister. Okay, she's personable, I guess. At first, I thought it was sweet. She wanted to be included in everything. Family dinners, birthdays, Sunday breakfast, random errands, all of it. But after a while, it started feeling less sweet and more like she was trying to glue herself to the family as fast as possible. She and Chris had only been dating 6 months when she started calling my parents mom and dad. Whoa, that's crazy. That's crazy. Megan is a little crazy for that. My mom loved it. My dad was awkward about it, but went along with it. Chris looked uncomfortable sometimes, but whenever anyone asked, he said Megan was just affectionate. Around month 8, Chris privately told me he was thinking about breaking up with her. 2 months after the mom and dad thing happened. I think he let it go on for too long. Maybe that's just me. He said he cared about her, but everything felt too fast. Chris, you're not crazy to say that. She wanted to move in. get engaged, start trying for kids, share bank accounts, adopt a dog, the whole future all at once. He said every time he tried to slow things down, she cried and said he was making her feel unwanted. I told him that sounded unhealthy. He agreed. 2 weeks later, Megan announced she was pregnant. The announcement happened at Sunday dinner. She stood up, started crying, and handed my mom a tiny gift bag. Inside was a baby onesie that said, Grandma's favorite. My mom lost her mind. She cried, hugged Megan, hugged Chris, hugged the onesie. My dad got emotional. Chris looked pale. I noticed that immediately. Okay, Chris is clearly not happy about this. Chris is not a fan. Everyone was celebrating, and Chris looked like someone had just told him the house was on fire. Later that night, I texted him, "Are you okay?" He replied, "I don't know." That was it. The engagement came faster after that, like within 3 weeks. Chris proposed in my parents' backyard because Megan said she didn't want to look pregnant and unmarried in family photos. My mom helped plan it. Everyone was excited. But Chris still seemed off. Whenever I asked about the baby, he gave vague answers. Megan had answers for everything: due date, baby names, nursery themes, birth plan. She even made a private Instagram account for the baby. But certain things didn't add up. Oh my gosh, OP is cooking here. She's on to them. First, she kept changing how far along she was. At the announcement, she said she was 8 weeks. 2 weeks later, she told my aunt she was almost 12 weeks. A month after that, she told my cousin she was 14 weeks. The math was slippery. Slippery indeed. Second, she never showed ultrasound pictures clearly. She showed one to my mom from across the table once, but when my mom asked her to send it, Megan said the file was too personal. Third, she said wait, too personal. You shared it over like the dinner table. But now it's too okay. I mean, if it's too personal, I don't think you do that in front of, everyone eating, right? Okay. Maybe, is that crazy? Who knows? Third, she said her doctor didn't allow guests at appointments, including Chris, because of new privacy rules. That sounded fake. Yeah, that does sound fake. I agree with you, OP. But I didn't want to accuse a pregnant woman of lying because that is a very heavy accusation. Then, one night, Chris came over to my apartment. He looked exhausted. He told me Megan had been using the pregnancy during every argument. If he questioned anything, she said stress was bad for the baby. If he wanted to delay wedding planning, she said he was ashamed of her. If he asked to go to an appointment, she said he didn't trust her. Then he said something that made my stomach drop. I don't even know if she's pregnant. I just stared at him. He said, I know that sounds horrible. I said, why do you think that? He said, she wouldn't let him see any medical paperwork, wouldn't let him attend appointments, wouldn't tell him the doctor's name clearly, and had gotten angry when he suggested they start budgeting for baby expenses. He said, she talks about the baby all the time, but anytime I ask practical questions, she melts down. I told him he had to ask for proof directly, not in an aggressive way, but clearly. If they were getting married and having a baby, he had a right to know what was going on. He said he was scared, not of her physically, but of what she could do emotionally. He said, if I'm wrong, I'm the worst person alive. If I'm right, I don't know what my life is anymore. Okay, Chris is he's in a bad spot right now. This is a lose-lose for this guy. If, one way it's like, oh, he accused his soon-to-be wife that she's not pregnant when she is. And the other side is, I thought I was having a son or daughter, and now I'm not. Like, what's going on here? And, his fiance also ends up being a crazy liar, and then he ends up single. But I guess he was going for it anyway, right, initially? Here we go. A week later, Megan announced they were having a gender reveal. Interesting. That is an interesting thing to do for someone lying about it. I guess she's trying to go through with it. What was her plan? Like, how is she gonna... I don't know. She wanted it at my parents' house. My mom went all out. Decorations, cupcakes, balloons, the works. Megan said she had given the gender results to her friend, who filled a box with colored confetti. I asked Chris if he had seen the test results. He said no. The day of the reveal, everyone was there. Cousins, aunts, grandparents, family, friends. Megan was glowing. Chris looked sick. Complete opposites. Right before the reveal, Megan pulled me aside and asked why I had been planting doubts in Chris's head. I was shocked. I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "He told me you've been asking questions." I said, "I asked if he was okay." She said, "You've never liked me." Ooh, pulling you aside, having a go at you. Oh, okay. That wasn't true. I liked her at first. I just didn't trust what was happening now. Then she said, very quietly, "If you ruin this for me, I will make sure your family knows exactly what kind of person you are." It was such a weird, threatening thing to say that I didn't even respond. Weirdly aggressive. I think she's lying. Well, I guess we already read the title and we know that's where it's going, but then she walked outside smiling like nothing happened. The reveal happened. They opened the box. Pink confetti. Everyone screamed. My mom cried again. Megan hugged Chris, but he didn't really hug back. After that, Megan became even more intense. She started calling the baby our miracle girl. She made my mom go shopping for baby clothes. She made a registry. She asked my parents if they could help with a down payment on a bigger apartment because the baby deserves stability. That's when I started getting really worried. My parents are generous, sometimes too generous. They were already talking about helping Chris and Megan with money. My mom said maybe they could give them part of what they had saved for home repairs. I told my mom privately, "Please don't give anyone money until Chris has actually seen medical confirmation." My mom got offended. She said, "How could you even say that?" I said, "Because Chris has concerns." She said, "Chris is anxious because he's becoming a father." I said, "Maybe, but this is a lot." My mom accused me of being jealous because Chris was starting a family. That made no sense. I wasn't jealous. I was scared. I guess the mom is like blinded right now, but from the joy that she has of being a grandma. She can't see through it right now. Then everything exploded because of a Target receipt. Megan had been staying at my parents' house for the weekend while Chris was working. I went over Sunday morning to help my dad move some patio furniture. While I was there, Megan asked me to grab something from her purse in the kitchen. She said, "Can you get my lip balm? It's in the side pocket." I opened the side pocket and found the lip balm. But when I pulled it out, a receipt came with it and fell on the floor. I picked it up, and at the top it said Target. The item list was confetti cannon pink, purchased the day before the reveal. I froze. The gender reveal box was supposedly filled by her friend based on results from a doctor's office. Why was Megan buying pink confetti the day before? OP is an investigator. Do you see how she's connecting dots here? I'm not sure I would have pieced that together right there. I'm not sure that that's something I could have done. This is impressive right here. We have someone who's putting everything together, putting the puzzle pieces here. Let's continue. I know a receipt alone doesn't prove someone isn't pregnant, but combined with everything else, it felt like a giant alarm bell. I took a picture of the receipt. I know people will say I shouldn't have, but at this point, my parents were about to give money. My brother was being pressured into marriage, and Megan had threatened me. I would have taken the picture too. Don't blame you. Or you could take the whole receipt even. You don't even have to, you could just take the receipt, I guess. Yeah, right? You don't even have to take the picture. Anyway, picture works as well. Works just fine. Let's continue. I showed Chris. He went completely silent. Then he said, "I need to know." That night, he asked Megan directly. He told her he needed to see proof of the pregnancy and the doctor's information. He said he wasn't accusing her, but he couldn't move forward with the marriage or money until he had clarity. She lost it. She screamed that he was calling her a liar. She said stress can make her miscarry. She said if anything happened to the baby, it would be his fault. Chris stayed calm and said, then let me come to the next appointment. She said no. He said, "Then show me the paperwork." Chris is standing his ground. Love that for you, Chris. Good job, Chris. She said she didn't have any. He said, "Show me the ultrasound." She said she deleted it because it made her emotional. He said, "Megan, are you pregnant?" She slapped him. Oh. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. That was the first time anything physical happened. Chris left and stayed with me. Good job, Chris. Leave. Don't go back. Clearly lying. Chris knows it. Chris has a feeling deep in his soul. He knows. The next morning, Megan called my mom crying and said Chris had abandoned his pregnant fiance because I convinced him she was lying. My mom called me screaming. She said I'd poisoned my brother against the mother of his child. Okay, the mom is also a little crazy. OP, I hate to say this. Your mom she's blind right now. She has no idea what's going on. No idea. I told her about the receipt. She said, so she bought pink decorations. That doesn't mean anything. I said, Mom, she said her friend prepared the reveal. My mom said, maybe she was helping. She wanted so badly for this to be real that every explanation was good enough. Then Megan posted on Instagram, pregnancy should be a sacred time, not a courtroom. Here we go. Everyone, and this is another case, people going to social media. Everyone loves to post these little passive aggressive things on there. I don't know, keep it private. Oh. Anyway, people started commenting support. Some family members messaged Chris calling him disgusting. For 3 days, everything was chaos. Then Chris did something smart. He texted Megan and said, I'm not arguing anymore. I'll attend any appointment, any clinic, any day this week. If you're pregnant, I'll apologize to you in front of both families. If you refuse, I'm ending the engagement. She didn't respond for 6 hours. Then she texted, I can't believe you're doing this to me. He replied, appointment or engagement ends. The next day, she sent him a picture of positive pregnancy test, but something looked off. Chris reverse image searched it. It was from Google. Not even deep Google, like first page. He sent her the screenshot. She stopped replying. That night, she showed up at my parents' house sobbing. I wasn't there, but Chris was. My parents called him over because they wanted everyone to talk calmly. Chris, smart guy Chris, doing the reverse search on that. Good guy, he wasn't falling for no tricks there. Megan admitted she was not currently pregnant. Currently. That word did a lot of work. She said she had been pregnant but miscarried very early and didn't know how to tell anyone. She said by the time she realized, everyone was so happy that she panicked. She said she kept pretending because she couldn't handle losing the baby and possibly losing Chris too. My mom cried and hugged her. Chris asked, when did you miscarry? Megan said, a few weeks after the announcement. Chris asked, did you see a doctor? She said, no. Chris asked, were you ever pregnant? Megan started crying harder and said, why are you trying to hurt me? He said, because you faked a gender reveal. She said, I was grieving. He said, you named a baby that didn't exist. She screamed at him that he was cruel. Then she admitted the pregnancy test she originally used was from a friend. A friend. So she was never pregnant. The room went dead silent. My dad asked, Megan, are you saying there was never a baby? She cried and said, in my heart there was. Chris took off the engagement ring and left. My mom still followed him outside and said, don't make a decision while emotions are high. Emotions are high because the baby was imaginary. Chris ended the engagement officially the next day. Megan did not take it well. She posted a long statement online saying she had suffered a private reproductive loss and that Chris abandoned her after the hardest moment of her life. She never admitted that pregnancy was fake. She heavily implied she had miscarried and that her family had turned against her. Then her friends started attacking Chris online. One called him a deadbeat. Another said, men always leave when pregnancy gets hard. Chris wanted to defend himself, but didn't want to publicly discuss pregnancy stuff, even fake pregnancy stuff. He just deleted his social media for a while. Good on Chris. Never take that stuff public, man. Don't bother with it. Save your time. Delete social media. I like that. She's trying to make you a villain. Not worth it. Then Megan messaged me. She said, I hope you're happy. You destroyed a family. I replied, there was no baby, Megan. She said, you don't get to define motherhood. I blocked her. But the worst part is my family didn't immediately come around. My mom was devastated. Not just because of this lie, but because she felt foolish. Instead of admitting that, she blamed me for digging. She said if I hadn't interfered, Megan might have told the truth on her own. I said, after the wedding? After you gave them the money? After Chris signed the lease? My mom said clearly she was unwell. I said, that can be true, and she can still be dangerous. My dad eventually apologized to Chris. He said he should have listened earlier. My mom took longer. She kept saying Megan needed compassion. I said compassion doesn't mean handing someone access to your son's entire life after they trapped him with a fake pregnancy. A month later, we found out Megan had done something similar before. One of her old friends contacted Chris after seeing vague posts. She said Megan had once told an ex she had a pregnancy scare that turned into a miscarriage, but nobody ever saw proof. At the time, everyone thought the ex was awful for leaving. Now the friend wondered if that story had been fake too. Chris was crushed. not because he wanted Megan back, but because he realized he had been manipulated from the beginning. He started therapy, moved into a new apartment, and has been quiet, but he seems lighter now. My relationship with my mom is still strained. She apologized, but it was one of those apologies where the words are right and the tone is still defensive. She said, "I'm sorry I yelled, but you have to understand how emotional it was for me." I told her it was emotional for Chris too, considering he was manipulated into planning a wedding around a baby that doesn't exist. The family is mostly on Chris's side now, but some relatives think I crossed the line by taking a picture of the receipt and encouraging Chris to demand proof. My aunt said, "A woman's pregnancy is private." I agree. Pregnancy is private. But fake pregnancy used to pressure someone into marriage and get money from their family is not just private. It becomes everyone's problem. So now I'm asking, was I wrong for exposing my brother's fiance after I found evidence that her pregnancy story didn't add up? No, you are definitely not wrong, OP. You are definitely not wrong. Your mom still sounds a little salty. At least she apologized. She was really on Megan's side there for a long bit of time, and it sounded like Megan has a rep of doing this. You know, her friend said she might have done this to her last ex. So I guess this isn't her first rodeo, and she might go on to do this a third time, God forbid. But you were definitely not wrong. I mean, calling your parents mom and dad after 6 months was that's not affection. That's speed run. That's speed running the family plan right there. That she's speed running. And then I guess Chris maybe said he wanted to break up, and that's when she announced she was pregnant, right? And tying together the pink confetti, the receipt. I mean, that's great. That was really well done. You should be an investigator, I guess. So yeah, what are you gonna do? Glad Chris is out of that. You really saved your brother there. Saved him and your family, I guess, the whole family before they started giving some money to Megan and her fake baby, I guess. So I mean, it wasn't even just a lie. It was like a whole fake future someone set up to trap Chris inside. So I mean, and the picture of Google's first page of the pregnancy test, like, put a little more effort in, a little more. At least go to the second page, like, show you care a little bit more. But, thank you for sharing the story on this Reddit page here, OP. And if you guys watching this want me to read any of your stories, if you have any good stories, crazy stories, wild stories, whatever it is, calm stories, nice, happy story, put it down in the comments below. Let me know. I'd love to read that. I'm more than willing. We could read it on the next episode. But for this episode, that story is gonna conclude it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know. Comment, subscribe, like, and hope to see you on the next video.